at ya. Coming in hot, Frank.
Hot. Too hot.
Hot. Like
Not even starting the show with the horse this week.
Like a
unfortunate.
pepper. I had it on. You guys made fun of me and were like, "Oh, you're gonna scare our guest."
Who was our guest?
I don't remember. What is his name?
We call him Steve.
Silence.
Did you forget it?
Beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll take that compliment.
Yeah. We are honored by the presence of Stephen P. Maclin.
P? Thank you.
P for penis.
For having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it because we got to pay the bills somehow. Frank.
That's all I think everybody's trying to do.
Yeah, Frank runs up the pay-per-view and porn.
Big fan. What are you drinking there? Little Java?
Me or Steve?
You.
Some decaf.
Oh.
Mind a little decaf, you know?
You got your Mr. Rogers sweater on?
I do.
With no pants.
That's the only thing he's wearing, by the way, is his Mr. Rogers sweater.
Rocking the gray. Got to get a haircut tomorrow. Leave for Dubai tomorrow night.
Are you taking the company Lear?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Undisputed 1? Demi 1?
Yeah, Demi.
We have a private jet? When the fuck did we get a jet?
Yeah,
We don't want to tell anybody that.
Tell you, but you know.
Awesome.
Be patient. You're on a need-to-know basis. Yeah, it is nice.
We purchased that on the MyBookie money that we're
not kidding.
Waiting for.
Manscaped.
No
paying
comment.
product.
Advertise with us again after we bury them.
There
That's
goes
right. Who'd they ever be?
There goes those
I'm saying,
opportunities.
Steve, who'd they ever be?
I don't know. Other than a pair of hairy balls, I don't know.
Hey, easy. It's a kid show. So, Steve, tonight, you did a little wrestling, huh?
I did. I'm actually on my way back from a show in Boca Raton, Florida, and Scotty Tuihati and I wrestled tonight. It was a lot of fun.
He's a veteran of the show.
Yeah, he's a friend of the show.
Yeah.
Actually, the first guest.
Yeah.
Yes, he
wormed his way in there.
He did.
Hi-oh, I see what you did there.
Hey-oh!
Thank you.
Well, this is off to a smashing start.
As always.
Okay, you got to start somewhere.
That's right. So, how did things go tonight?
Good, easy little match in Boca, and
okay.
It's just
did
good little family friendly crowd, and yeah.
The worm happened?
No, I actually stopped Scotty Tuihati before it did and hit my finish.
Whoa.
Outstanding. Nice job.
Yeah.
Whoa. You were up?
He chose to have me go up at it. I already expected to go there to do the job within 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. Wow. How's that for some disrespect?
I know how the tables have turned.
You went there and laid down the law. You were like, I'm not putting you over. Scott.
Nope.
Wow. You're a real heel.
It was a fun match, though. It was good to work with Scotty finally. Even the time in NXT, to him as a coach. I think it was always good to just be in the ring with him and him bumping me around even in practice. So to actually get out there and do it in a match in front of a crowd it was worth it and a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, I mean, we'll have to get the other side of the story from Scotty. You know, when you're not. But
that's fine. You can bury me later.
That's just how we do it here on this show. Yeah. All right. So heading home. successful night of putting down Scotty Too Hottie. And, how are things at Impact? I saw you there.
Impact is great.
Yeah.
In Albany, in your hometown.
Yes, in my hometown, and they received me like I farted in church. That's 3 people, and then you're like, okay, well, why did I leave Albany? Probably because of that.
No, Impact's.
I'm a very hateable person.
It's great though, because you're not lying.
No, I'm a very hateable person.
No, you're not.
It's okay. I'm good with it. Those are my cheers. I like being ridiculed.
It's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What they call a glutton for punishment. Okay, so Steve, Frank, where are we gonna begin here?
Let's start at the very beginning.
The very beginning.
I'm not talking about birth. Let's talk about.
Oh, I thought you meant.
You wanted to talk about when he was conceived.
I don't
do that.
Wow,
I was definitely a mistake, baby. Definitely.
Okay.
Just make you a bad guy.
Start.
It was a good mistake.
All right. It's a good place to start.
If you want to fast forward for my start into wrestling, I got into wrestling in
Was that at the Monster Factory?
That was at the Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey.
Okay. Who was heading up the facility there?
Danny Cage and Larry Sharp. And Danny Cage has taken over and has been in charge of the Monster Factory since. And Larry passed a few years back. But Danny's been the guy there for me from the beginning. Was there for about 1.5 years total. And I learned my basics there. Learned how to bump, learned how to sell. And that was the one thing that I got taught by Bill Wiles at the time as well. Was also a guest coach. Blue Meanie, Punishment Martinez, who's now, Damian Priest was also there at that time. So, and T. Marshall. So a lot of the guys that have had experience, I learned from them at that time. And Danny luckily brought in Gerald Briscoe for a tryout and a seminar, who at that time was the head talent scout at WWE. Came in, we sat down, and he said, don't go anywhere else. Don't take any more bookings. Stay here, learn the basics, and don't get hurt. I'll get you a tryout. And,
You really jumped the queue, as they say in the UK.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know that saying, but I guess that's what I did.
Well, they call a line the queue in the UK. I'm just showing you that I'm cultured, Steve. Way more cultured than you.
That's okay.
And Frank and Dennis.
You've been around a lot longer.
Yeah, and I'm vegan. And I have this sweater. I normally smoke a pipe.
Were you a fan growing up?
Oh, diehard. I got into wrestling as a fan because of my grandparents. My mom and dad worked day and night shifts, so they were always out of the house. So growing up, I kind of was with my grandparents most of the time. And my grandmother and grandfather were big Roddy Piper and Andre the Giant fans.
Ooh.
So I always sat with them pretty much after I got done with doing my homework or not doing my homework, and just sat watching wrestling.
So what hooked you? Was it the man skirt?
I don't know. Piper was a good-looking guy, too. He had some good head of hair and locks on him.
He was great. I mean, way before his time.
Way before his time. I don't know. I appreciate more of that work now. I was more of a fan. Like, Ultimate Warrior was the first person that really kind of stuck out to me as a kid. Just he was larger than life. He came down that friggin' aisleway, just way too many lines going down that way, and just bat out of hell.
Yeah, tassels, hairspray, paint.
And then, and everybody loved Hogan that I knew. Like, all my friends loved Hulk Hogan, and I just wanted to be different, so I liked Ultimate Warrior.
Well, you weren't alone.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You weren't alone. Vince certainly hooked the trailer to Warrior. It didn't pan out exactly, but
That's why.
what's that?
So that's why he's a Hall of Famer. He was over, drew money.
Okay. So Roddy Piper, Warrior, they're what hooked you. So you there, Steve?
Would Rowdy Piper work today? Like that, the way he worked the stick, and he was good for that period, but you think it would it work today?
I'm gonna field this one because
You have to.
I think Steve's off the road.
Not sure what happened there.
There he is. He's back. Well, now we've got two Steves. Back to one.
So I don't know what happened there.
Did you
So
have a question, Steve?
so we were on Ultimate Warrior, right?
I am having such a hard time calling you Steve.
I know. Cuddy was my nickname for a long time, and a lot of people still call me that.
Yeah, well, I think, and I don't know, Frank and Dennis, if you are privy to this, but within pro wrestling industry, because there are so many different names, and some people, it really depends on how you're introduced to that person when you meet them, wherever it is in their career. So there's definitely people in this world who would know me more as Jerk.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, whenever you meet the person, it's generally what that universal name is for you. And, if it's before you really kind of got in, then people use real names. So, for me, going to NXT, meeting Steve for the first time, he was Cuddy because it was Cutler and Blake. And that was how I knew him. So in my phone, he's still Cuddy. But I'll call him Steve.
It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Blake's daughter Piper calls me Cuddy, Uncle Cuddy still. So the day she called me Uncle Cuddy, it melted my heart like the biggest thing in the world. I was like, yes.
All right. Well, if it's good enough for Piper, it's good enough for this guy.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I know we were chatting about my time at the Monster Factory before I got cut off rudely by this probably terrible service on 95. But so I did my time at the Monster Factory for about a year and a half with Briscoe coming in, and then I had my tryout in August of 2013 at the Performance Center, and then I was signed as I was going to do extra work that October of 2013, and then showed up to the Performance Center January of 2014, and was there for 6.5 years in that building.
Okay. And so when you went into the Performance Center, did you how much indie work had you done? Were you established with any sort of gimmick, or did you kind of come in as a blank slate?
I came in at a blank slate because at that time NXT was not trying to hire the indie talent. There wasn't that influx push yet. They were still kind of doing what they're doing. They were trying to pretty much do the model of what they're doing now in NXT.
Okay.
Where
so what do you think? Go ahead.
Trying to build that homegrown talent that they can then eventually feed to the main roster. But then obviously NXT became a bigger thing than it was supposed to be, and took over.
Right. So, do you think what do you think was? Briscoe noticed you there, and was there any any conversation as to what it was, or was he just like, okay, you're talented, I think we can get you a job?
Yeah, it was mostly obviously on talent, but it was also my backstory of being prior military in the Marine Corps, and my time in service obviously is a good backstory to have, and especially WWE, they love supporting the military.
Nice.
So it was just a good story to have, and it's just one of those things. If you go down there and you can make the most of it and get it, and I thought that was the end all be all. And here I am, a kid in a candy shop doing what I thought was the dream from being a child, and then you learn the business side of that place, and it just becomes a job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say for myself, I really enjoyed the time that we spent at NXT, and part of that was meeting you, meeting Blake. We never did get that program together that I think we'd all talked about a few different times.
Yeah.
We did have the one ladder match in Portland, which was fun to put together. I think really what happened with us and you guys was you guys were really kind of getting the Suns thing going, and I would say, like, you guys were basically, able to, like, make other people look better than they were. And that's kind of what we were too, So
Yeah.
we worked with the Street Profits, and we worked with, not to say that they weren't good, they were, but it was our place to, like, just help people get reps and whatnot. So, like, I think we were too similar in that way to end up getting a lengthy program. So, like, I think we did do a few coconut loops, though, right? Or a few.
Yeah, we had a few tags, and then we had a few 6-mans as well, which was a lot of fun. With you, Roddy, and Kyle.
Right. Yeah, that was cool. I do remember.
And that was one of those things too, where we did get to work together, and we knew that there's money here. There's a draw with this program. And I remember talking to Hunter, and Hunter would tell us, like, well, they're heels. And I'm like, Undisputed Eras, I know you're trying to make them heels, but the crowd loves them. Why make them the baby face in this role?
Yeah.
But they just didn't want to turn you guys at that time, which we get. It's his plan, so it's just, all right, we'll just keep pitching ideas.
Right. Well, he might have also realized how unlikable I've proven to be. So. He's a smarter man.
We were pretty unlikable too.
My poor wife, she stuck with me.
Is that frustrating?
She loves me.
Is that frustrating though, when you know there's a plan that can make money? Because Bobby's mentioned that with a few different teams and people where you can make money with somebody, but the person with the pen or pencil says, not right now.
Yeah, and again, that's my time in the PC. Like, you just learn that side of the business, and you can control only what you can, and you're putting in your reps and your effort of pitching ideas, working on your craft, and you can only do so much on your end other than whether they want to push you or not. And I remember even in a Skull session, when Scott Hall was there, like, we watched the match with him and Terry, and Scott turns to Blake and I goes, listen, I got nothing for you guys. Like, you guys, I don't know why you're down here still. And he's like, you guys can do it all. He's like, you just need the office to push you. And that's literally all it is.
What was that interaction like with Scott Hall? What was he like?
Oh, it was great. Anytime a coach would come down and they'd have somebody come in like a Scott Hall or a Kevin Nash, even X-Pac, just because it's like Hunter and Sean and all, like, you have all of DX and, like, hanging out at the Performance Center. So it was always cool to just pick their brain and kind of look at things. And, like, Sean Waltman, X-Pac, was another person who took a liking to us too as well, and he was very helpful with us towards Hunter, and so was Sean. And Sean was, I know Bobby could attest to it, having Sean just to sit and throw ideas off of, and it just, I don't know, he has just a different thought process.
Yeah, I can speak to that. He definitely does. And there was a time I remember him explaining to us how to sit out on crowd reaction and just, like, let's say for lack of a better term, we could double down and waiting for the crowd and like, it's going to go silent, but let it be and be patient. Don't jump the gun on it. And the few times that then you're in the ring and it plays out exactly the way he described it, and you do have that patience, you're like, wow, I'm like, this is a different level of understanding. And he he's definitely that guy. And like you were saying, Cuddy, I can remember. I want to say it was Sean, maybe Nash, Hall. I don't think Hunter was in the room, but it was like the group of us in the Skull session, and here we are. It's Hall and Nash and Shawn Michaels bullshitting. Like we were watching something, and maybe Waltman might have been there too. But then we're just a fly on the wall, like watching them recount. I want to say it was Scott and Sean in the ladder match.
You there?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry. You were last on the room with Hall and Nash and them? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then everyone took their clothes off. And
it was great.
Yeah.
No clothes and a big too sweet.
There you go. No complaints from me. All right, so
do you think that's lost in the business? Because those guys legitimately love the business. I mean, they sleep and breathe it. Do you think that still happens today?
Oh yes, I think it does. Like especially just even in Impact Wrestling, like the locker room is. I know Bobby was just there, but like everybody there is trying to push each other to get better in certain ways. And you have Tommy Dreamer, you have Jimmy Jacobs, you have Robert Evans behind the scenes, and then Scott D'Amore even pulls me aside and says little tidbits here and there to push, like just to do like little things like that to make things mean more, and just to help the brand grow itself. And that was the same in NXT. Like everybody just wanted that to be the best thing possible, and it's what you take from somebody or what can work towards you. And again, my time in WWE, like 6.5 years in the Performance Center, learning what was good and what was bad. I learned a lot more bad things than I did a lot of good things, but it worked in the end.
Is that kind of cool for you now to be with? I mean, let's people would say like Impact is on the come up, or a smaller company or whatever. Is it kind of cool to help be a part of trying to get that, just trying to get that whole thing over and make it successful or more successful than it has been?
Yeah, no, obviously anywhere you go, you want to leave your kind of footprint somewhere. And that's the one thing I'm trying to do as well is, yeah.
Leaving a skid mark.
Skid mark Steve. But I popped myself there. But no, it's just one of those things where, like, I don't know, like I'm trying to get myself over as much as I can so that I can broaden my career again. Maybe if I was to go back to a WWE, AEW, or even just stay in Impact, like, or Japan as well, is another goal of mine.
Right.
So it's just one of those things where I want to better myself, and having that ability to have work TV and different styles of being there and understanding less is more of that WWE style. And then also now on the independents, learning all these different things that everybody wants to do. I don't know the names of half these moves people want to do. And then when they tell me what it is, I'm like, oh, okay, that's this.
Yeah. Like
just,
an atomic drop.
Yeah, Manhattan. Like, there's so many different names.
I can relate a little bit, doing a little bit of like just the independent contractor thing at this point is it's a little bit fun, and there's work out there, and not being tied down to one place. I've enjoyed quite a bit more than I was expecting to. So I think it's a good time. It's a good time to be doing this.
I had a lot of fun in my time in WWE and NXT tagging with Blake, but like right now I'm having the most fun I've had in wrestling, just in my personal life, and then also in wrestling at the same time. Like I have a very good balance of everything right now, and I don't know, just enjoying wrestling.
Well, you're getting married in a week, right? You're getting married.
November 10th, Marie Corps birthday.
Yeah. Bravo. Your soon-to-be wife also in the business.
Yeah, man, it's awesome to be able to just be honest. Like, I don't know, honesty is the biggest thing in wrestling with each other, when you can trust people for feedback or anything about a match or what you're doing. And for her and I, it's the ultimate honesty where we're honest to each other in life about anything. We tell each other everything. And then especially in wrestling, we just critique each other constantly. Watch something and like, oh, maybe you could do this. Maybe you could do this. So that's the fun balance between real life and then wrestling.
Nice. Nice. All right.
That and getting to travel together is even better.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that because that's what becomes difficult, I think, sometimes, is just, being on, if there's one complaint about wrestling, it's being on the road away from your family and sleeping in a hotel instead of your own bed with your wife and family. So I can see how that definitely makes things better.
Yeah, and then we also try to make the most of the trips we are on. If we fly in a day earlier, we try to go sightsee in the cities we're in so that we can check things off of a bucket list too. So she's a big collector of postcards for everywhere we go.
Nice.
So that's one thing we try to do everywhere we go is go see something, go do something, and then obviously get a collection of postcards.
Awesome. And so where are these nuptials taking place?
In Bluffton, Hilton area, actually Beaufort, South Carolina. It's November 10th. I'm excited. She just was annoying before. She was very annoyed before we got on here because it's supposed to rain all day Thursday.
That's good luck. It's good luck.
She's very annoyed with that, so we'll keep it fingers crossed we'll be okay.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm excited. I know she is. We
Good.
even gave our wedding gifts to each other early yesterday, which because we can't hold a gift in. We have. It's just funny. We both are the same that way.
Can't hold a gift in.
Nope. Can't hold it.
There's a dad joke there, and I'm not gonna.
Yeah, there is.
I'm not gonna. I was going there. It's where I was headed, and in my head I went there, but it's not coming out. It's not.
But we're both happy, and I know you just had your nuptials not too long ago as well. So
I did. I made Mrs. Fish a reality.
Show?
What's that?
Show? Reality show? No?
No.
No.
I didn't tell you about that?
She doesn't want to broadcast. Yeah, but it's exciting. We did it in Asheville, North Carolina. We did it on a mountain, and it was cool. And I gotta be honest, man, I kind of love being a husband. It's good stuff. I'm excited for you, Steve, Cuddy, whatever you want to be called.
You call me whatever you want.
Okay, just don't call you late for brunch. I don't know.
What?
All right.
Yeah, what?
All right.
Sure. Yeah.
Call me late for brunch.
Okay.
The hell's that?
Brunch
I don't know.
it's between.
I know what brunch is, but it was late for
breakfast
brunch.
and lunch. Brunch. It's not dinner. It's
Do you consider there to be a dinner? It's like lunch and dinner at the same time as well, just kind of like a brunch, but it's between lunch and dinner.
I don't, but I don't see why not.
Well, I don't think it's an official thing, but it's definitely a thing. I mean, everybody wants to do brunch now, but I'm not opposed to going to dinner. I have no problem with that at all.
It depends on where dinner is. Where are the reservations for dinner?
It's tough to find a restaurant that will actually take my reservation for dinner at this point.
Wasn't there a gimmick in old WWF dinner? Oh no, that was Skinner. Skinner. Whoops.
Close enough.
Yeah. All right. So, on to the next here. Where are we headed? Steve, you're going again. Yep.
Oh, we lost him.
Now the picture's even gone.
Talk amongst yourselves. He'll be back momentarily.
And
Every time I
back. And he's back.
It's this service. I love that it says when I get kicked out of it, it says for a pro tip, make sure you have Wi-Fi. No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
one hell of a segue. So, Steve, before wrestling was paying the bills, you were a serviceman. You were Marine Corps, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, the branch and the best branch of the military.
Okay.
I served my 4
how long
years.
did you serve?
Served my 4 years from 2007 to 2011. I was honorably discharged as a corporal. My MOS, my job was 0331 machine gunner. I was infantry. So I was behind a 50 cal, Mark 19, and a 240 Bravo. Friggin' did my both tours in Afghanistan. My first tour was Operation Kunjari, which was the major push back into Afghanistan in 2009 from May to November. And then January to August of 2011, I was in the city of Marja in Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man.
I got out of it what I wanted in the Marine Corps.
Good for you.
Thank you.
My dad served, so that's certainly something that you should be proud of.
Always.
Yeah. So your brother Chad in the Suns was also. Why do I keep calling them the Suns?
Well, we forgot the Suns at the time.
Forgotten Sons.
I'm thinking like Phoenix Suns. Yeah, that was your tag team, the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Chad was a Marine too, correct?
Correct. And it was funny too, because when the three of us were together, everybody would always thank Blake for his service as well. And then Blake's face was always priceless because he'd be like, what do I do? I'm like, just say thank you. I'm like, just let it go, brother. These people it's okay. It was always priceless just because it was funny. But it's funny how, like, everybody related us more as, like, a militaristic and patriot gimmick where when Blake and I originally got together, we were just trying to pitch myself and him as BAC, Blake and Cutler, but we wanted to play off of blood alcohol content. And but it's just funny because, like, they would always tell us at the performance center, give us a backstory. What's your story? What's your image? What's your message statement? I'm like, well, Corey and I became best friends at a bar the first week I was at the PC. So that's our backstory. So we were trying to play off of it.
Were you guys going to come to the ring drunk?
No, we were just coming out with brown paper bag cans on some of the house shows, and we cheers. And
maybe
we were trying to do.
You Uber to every show because
that would have been great. We got to do a breathalyzer as we get to the ring.
Oh, that would have been great.
That'd been awesome.
That actually, wow, we missed money on that one.
Right
as you're about to lock up, just pass out, kick out on one, get a good full seat.
Just fall face down. Piss your pants.
The finish is just vomiting everywhere, and then you're back to normal.
Yeah. Then the room stops spinning and everything. That stuff writes itself. I mean,
it does. Can they put it on TV? No.
We should be running a territory. We really should.
It'd be the weirdest territory in the world.
That'll be next.
Yeah. It'll be from Boca Raton to Albany, New York. That's the region we'll run.
It's a good straight up 95.
Yep.
Save on travel, yeah. That's a good idea. We're working that. We're working that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
we
go.
know about that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
You got it. We're good. All right. It's underway.
All right.
So, yeah.
We're on the Forgotten Sons.
Yes. And so I was always very taken back by Blake's ability to bump and feed. I mean, just different level. He used to go ass under the bottom rope, over the second rope, and kind of hook it. Do you remember the bump I'm talking about?
Yes.
And he would do it so effortlessly, and it was such a pro move. I just was always very, very envious of it. He did it so easily and so well. It was really one of the highlights I remember from watching you guys work. You guys had,
It was always, God, man, it was always fun working with him just because he's one of the most underrated. And it's funny because, like, amongst the boys, he's not underrated. He's fucking one of the best.
Right.
But it's like people do not know how good he is.
Yeah.
And it was always a blast just out there every night because, like, I didn't really get to tag much at my time in WWE and NXT. And then once he and I started tagging, he was obviously doing his stuff with Buddy, and they had the tag title run. So when he and I ended up tagging, I kind of learned more from him, just on for certain things and how to call certain spots and just being smarter about things and why are we doing this. And we always rode together anyway when him and Buddy were a tag team, and that's kind of one of those things that sparked our idea as a tag team of just like, all right, why aren't we a team? Like, let's pitch us, because everybody, again, influx of talent at NXT at one point was just a ton of singles guys, and there weren't tag teams.
Yeah.
And then it became that idea of, all right, we're a tag team. And then you guys came in. Then War Raiders came in. So then tag teams started flooding. And we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. But it's okay because it just, I don't know. We never have any burden with anything, just the way the business is. But it was so much fun tagging.
Yeah, 100%. And I love tag team wrestling, obviously, and there was a lot of options there. It's in other places that I've been, I feel like similar things have happened, and unfortunately, some money's been left on the table, it seems. Tag team wrestling sometimes just doesn't get the shake, I think, the fair shake it deserves. And I remember as a kid growing up, like, really just loving tag team wrestling. And I don't know if it's perspective or if it didn't kind of get the fair shake then either, or if it's just my perspective of memory, from watching it. But it seems like tag team wrestling a lot of times is the forgotten son, if you will.
Oh,
Look at that.
Hey-o.
Look at that.
Way to get it in there.
Yes. So I think with Blake, one of the way that I would categorize Blake was he was one of the guys who was very good at the sleight of hand that is our business. Like being able to almost deceive people's perception. He was, and I mean that in the greatest way possible. It was very deceptive as to what was, what you were watching. So it had to be, I would imagine it had to be very, very informative to come from not tagging and then end up with a guy like Blake and getting to kind of cut your teeth tag wrestling with him.
And it's fun, and it was fun to just pick up, and it's just, again, tag wrestling's the creative part because the fans never knew the rules completely of what our parameters were within WWE of the one breakup, holding the tag rope, and the 5-second rule was very enforced, and like trying to find ways to get actual heat today. And it was always fun to just be creative and try to do different things and be different from everybody else.
That's one of my favorite things about wrestling and about especially tag wrestling and when it's enforced as opposed to it not being. And personally, having worked in places that have been both, I prefer it to be enforced. I like to have that creativity forcing your hand a little bit. I loved working in Japan, but I mean, good God, sometimes you just watch a match and you're like, good Lord, does the referee, like, why is there even a referee in the ring? Can we just give him the night off? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, no, I agree. I fully love the parameters of the rules and trying to enforce it and work around it, because then it also helps tell the story as well.
Definitely, and that's exactly what they are, and that's what you called them just now, was that they're tools. There's tools. Those are tools to use. They're not obstacles. They're actually, because at the end of the day, like, it's our canvas. We can paint whatever color we want to put on it, and I've said it before when it comes to other things, like, choose to put your spin on what we do and, like, make it something you're good at. And it's a tool to showcase your style of pro wrestling. And I think the rules definitely help with that when they're enforced.
Especially when you let talent go out there and just be themselves and not, like, keep a little leash on them and tell them you can do this or do that. Like, let a talent go out there and mess up a little bit, then correct them. Let them go out there and try something and do something well, whether it works or not. Maybe it works in the next town. You don't know. And that's just one of those things that I don't think's done in certain places. Obviously, there's a lot more freedom outside of WWE in certain things. Hopefully, it's changing for the better. It seems to be. But, yeah, just one of those things where, again, tag wrestling, I love it. I wish it was showcased more.
Yeah.
I think it is nowadays.
Okay, so you got to pick somebody on the Impact roster to be your tag partner. Who's your Bobby Eaton?
I think right now I'd pick between either having Josh Alexander, just because he's obviously the one guy that I'm gunning for, and why not have your biggest enemy by your side so you can always keep an eye on him. But then also Eddie Edwards would be another one, I would think. I think Eddie and I would have good chemistry as a team.
See both those picks. Oh, there's an echo.
You got me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
We do. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, what's next on the horizon for you, Mr. Maclin?
Obviously, I'm gunning for Josh Alexander right now in Impact as the world champion. He's got a big match coming up with Kazarian at Overdrive in a couple weeks.
I saw that. They started setting that up right after I took my shot.
Yeah. So, and you failed.
How do I feel?
No, he said you failed.
You failed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I failed. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
And it's funny because, like, you and I know each other, and you came out and you admitted to.
Say that again? You were stuttering.
Oh, sorry. Maybe it starts again. But no. True.
Perfect.
He said,
Scumbags.
Perfect.
Now.
We got to do more of these with people on the road.
How are we doing now?
Okay, much better.
Good.
You were saying?
No, you came out there and you agreed with me. And I know you had your title shot in your hometown in Albany, which, those 3 fans loved you.
Yeah. They,
Two of the 3 fans were me and Frank.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I had. I had this podcast, and that was it.
Yeah. My girlfriend was there, too.
And she didn't even cheer?
No, she didn't.
No. That's okay.
No, Bobby came out. My girlfriend went, "Fuck Bobby." What? I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Everybody else did too. Don't worry.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That could be worse, man. I could be Moose.
Good. Yeah. Could be worse.
Actually, he's rich.
Is he?
I would think so. I mean, I believe he played
in his
the
reality.
he played for the Bills. I think he played the NFL. Play for the
Well,
Bills.
he did play in the NFL. That's fact. But I think he made I think after 7 years, it's like a pension.
You get pension, yeah.
And I think he hit that. So I don't think he needs pro wrestling.
Well, you get your pension at the NFL too.
Me?
Yeah.
No, Colony Pop Warner. I get a pension from Colony Pop Warner. Yeah.
Couple quarters.
Little lesser known league. Super Bowl's not quite as big there. It's the town cup.
I'm sure the hometown crowd didn't like you back then either.
They didn't. I haven't been liked since I was a kid.
Which was really messed up because that was all parents. So it was...
Yeah, my own parents. Yeah. Sad but true. It explains a lot if you think about it. It really does. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So what was it like getting called up to the main roster?
It was awesome and also shitty at the same time just because we were still stuck in the Performance Center where we were for 6.5 years during the COVID time.
That's right.
But it was still a cool thing to have that moment and obviously be on SmackDown. Do we wish it was an arena with a lot more with actual fans? Yes, but I don't know. It was just a long time coming, and we kind of knew the writing was on the wall when our time in NXT, and we'd always be told, "Oh, you guys are Vince guys." And I'm like, okay, well, that's not doing anything for us right now. So what do we have to do to be more on TV here? But
what do you think that is to be a Vince guy?
I don't know. I still don't understand that. Other than that's their way of just saying we have nothing for you. In a nice way, I guess. I don't know.
It's kind of a backwards compliment.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. So if we're Vince guys, then call us up. But when we did get called up, it was a good feeling because it was fun to just have Blake there, and we both had put in the hours and the time in that place, and it was good to finally go up there and show for that little time period that we did.
Maybe they meant Vince Russo guys.
Maybe.
Or maybe a Vince Neil guy. Maybe they saw you as Vince Neil guys.
I'd be a Vince Neil guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Back in his day, though.
Yeah.
Not now.
No, Vince
not now.
Yeah.
Vince now is not
How's
good.
he holding up these days? I don't know.
He doesn't remember the words very often. Let's put it
terrible.
that way.
Okay.
It's like watching a train wreck.
Oh. Sounds awesome.
It's
Sounds like that BAC gimmick you guys were trying to do.
I thought that was money.
Well, so did Vince Neil.
Yeah. Got over in the 80s.
Yeah. Hey, so Cuddy, I remember where I don't know where we were, but we took a walk to a gas station. It was me, you, and Ed, our boy Ed. You remember that? We were on the road. I don't remember where were we. It was a long walk too, and it was cold.
Not too sure.
Alaska?
No, we didn't go. I've never been to Alaska. I would love to go to Alaska.
Antarctica. It was in Antarctica.
Pittsburgh. I think it was Pittsburgh.
That's what it was.
Yeah, we'll go with Antarctica.
Yeah.
Well, it was always funny. We'd always Eddie Orengo, referee.
Ed. Yes. What was Ed's? Ed started out as a wrestler.
Yeah, actually, it was Bandito. The original.
Bandito
Well, not the
Jr.
original. I don't know who the. Yeah, Bandito Jr. I don't know who the original.
Yeah.
Eddie
I know Ed from the Northeast. He was a Jersey guy, I think.
That's
how
Eddie
you know
and I met. Eddie and I met. So it was funny because he actually wrestled at the Monster Factory right as I just left.
Okay.
So we never had cross paths until he came down to NXT, and then he's actually one of my groomsmen in my wedding. So it's just
nice.
it's become a very good friend of mine, and just he's always one of those heads to bounce things off of, and he's just a very underrated ref as well. Because I don't think people realize how they can utilize a referee in a ring.
Yeah. Ed and I have quite the rapport. I've always gotten along well with Ed. We were a tag team, short-lived, but on the Indies we were.
Really?
Yeah, we had one match.
What was your name?
Sugar and Spice.
Everything Nice. That's what our name was. Everything Nice.
Everything Nice.
Everything Nice twice, and we'll pay the price.
Get some lice.
Go down to the bay.
Thursday for a slice today.
Just may.
This is getting out of control. We should call it.
Now?
Good. I don't know if he's going to answer.
Yeah, Ed's on the road. Ed's where is he now?
Yeah, he's probably
SmackDown?
he's probably on the road heading to Raw tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know where we were walking to.
I don't know. It was cold though. I remember it being cold.
We're probably on a task of finding beer for the bus.
That did happen sometimes. Those road loops were fun though. They were great fun.
The bus was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best was when, like, if everybody had their moments and you knew who's getting drunk when they'd be up talking the longest.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, on the ride there, like nobody said a word.
No. And
Yeah,
then at the end of the show, everybody's just getting loaded in the middle of the bus, and then the back of the bus is sleeping, and the front of the bus is sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good times.
Yes, sir. They certainly were. They certainly were. Well, Steve, what's coming up with Impact other than this Josh Alexander match? And when is that? Is that going to be a pay-per-view? What's
Overdrives? Oh, for me and Josh, I don't know. It's up to Scott D'Amore to make that match.
okay.
I've been beating all these former world champions, and everybody just keeps waltzing in and getting their shot. No
So
offense
what
to you,
happens
good on
if
you.
Kazarian beats Josh? Do you then get a shot at Kazarian? Is this?
I hope so. You would think that.
Yeah.
You would think after you win matches, you eventually get a title shot, but it doesn't seem to be working that way right now. So.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, they're
Listen, this is your platform, Steve. You heal them bastards. They're not treating you right.
It's okay. I just keep doing my thing, and that's all I can do. And if it's going to come, it's going to come at some point, just like anything else.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, what are your plans for Thanksgiving, Steve?
We'll be on our honeymoon in Jamaica.
Oh,
nice.
Good for you. Look at that. Look at that.
I'm looking forward to that. Thanksgiving's become that holiday I really don't care for anymore.
Really? Got something against turkey? I'm vegan, right?
No.
You're vegan?
No.
Vegan.
No offense to vegans, but no.
I'm Catholic.
What the hell is happening?
Frank, you knew that. You knew.
Come on, Bobby.
Frank.
Yeah, I know.
It's just been one of those holidays I just can care less about, and I don't know. Christmas and Halloween are my two favorites.
How does your wife feel about you boycotting Thanksgiving?
I guess okay. She's excited for Jamaica. I know I am.
No
I'll get
turkey
good
in
and fat
Jamaica.
now. I don't know. Do they have turkey in Jamaica?
No, I think they have bean pies.
Bean pies.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know. I was there on a cruise once. But
Well, I know they have different versions of turkey.
You don't get to see the actual, like when you get off those cruises, you don't really get to experience the country. You get like the resort, like BS.
Which is where they want you to stay in Jamaica, because they don't really want you wandering around. You may not come back in Jamaica.
Yeah, definitely not doing that.
Yeah, no. I've been there, and they're like, stay with the group, stay with the resort, get on the bus, get off the bus. Don't wander around. You might not come back.
So be careful.
That's how Albany is.
Be careful. Yeah, it's like Albany.
Yeah.
You know, I would probably get cheered in Jamaica, though.
Probably not.
Possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably not.
I don't know.
I said they eat bean pies. I don't know what bean pie is.
No? I think they have turkey. It's just jerk turkey.
Jerky.
Right.
Why was that so stupid?
Oh, good God.
How much more trouble can we get ourselves into? Let's keep talking.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that we're being taken off whatever air we're on. Steve, we're on YouTube. You should follow us.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We're on YouTube.
Well, good. It's good to know that, so I can watch for these nice long drives where I don't have shitty service.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
This will be the
what
best.
about you? What about you
with
with Dubai? What's going on in Dubai?
I am headed to Dubai tomorrow evening with my wife and my coach, and we'll be meeting my agent who's flying in from San Francisco, and I will be having my first pro boxing match on November 13th in Dubai.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they love Bobby Fish over in Dubai.
Of course they will. How would they not? It's not Albany. Not Albany. If it was Albany,
Definitely not Albany.
Right. Right. I might start hailing from Dubai after this, depending on how things go.
The Double Cross Ranch in Dubai.
There you go. There you go. The Double Cross Ranch in Dubai. Have you ever been, Steve, to Dubai?
Have not. We almost did the Dubai show. I don't know if you were, or actually, I think you were still with WWE at the time, but there was an indie booking that was trying to go with Sonny and Gazim. Remember AOP?
Yeah, I do, of course.
They were doing a booking. It originally was supposed to happen in Dubai.
I do remember.
Ended up getting switched to the UK. That got canceled and postponed. So then D and I both just pulled out of the whole thing regardless.
Yeah.
They took care of us for the booking before on our end, which was good. But I don't know if all the fans were refunded. But yeah, I was really looking forward to that show in Dubai, just because it would have been a fun bucket list thing to go do. And when are you ever going to go to Dubai, other than you going to fight?
That's how I looked at it. Like, this thing kind of fell in my lap, and it was, I was pretty certain, like, I wouldn't regret going. And then they're like, well, yeah, we'll fly your wife over. I was like, okay, done. So,
yeah.
Can't really say no to that. Because that's the other thing with this industry is, you get to, I know in my time I've seen things and places that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to see, certainly not on somebody else's dime. But a lot of times, like, you don't get to experience it with your family. So to, be able to do this kind of thing with my wife and somebody who, is my other half like that, that's it's cool and it's unusual in this industry. Usually that's not the case. Unless, of course, your wife works in the industry, which yours does. So you'll probably be able to check those boxes more times than that.
Yeah. Do I wish my experience of Paris and seeing the Eiffel Tower was with my soon-to-be wife? Yes, but I had Blake and Eddie there. And I remember we all got to the Eiffel Tower, and I'm just like, this is it?
Yeah.
This is what everybody was putting over? I'm like, it's all right, whatever. Send me back to America.
Ed's ass looks good in a pair of jeans, too. So, know what I'm saying, Frank?
No.
No. Yeah, you don't know it. No. Gotta quite the rear end on him.
Quite the caboose, huh?
Yeah.
Quite the old back end.
Quite the caboose. You heard it here first on the Undisputed podcast.
Caboose?
And Dino Jr.'s got quite the caboose. Caboose.
Oh, dear. Oh,
yeah.
boy.
right.
Well, you weren't lying that we would just be talking about some random things at some point.
Yes, it is. This is a very random podcast. Well, gentlemen, I think we're nearing the top of the hour here, and
Top of the hour.
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't.
Frank
Nobody
or
knows.
Dennis would
Did you
have
just
an
hang
idea.
up abruptly?
Yeah.
Yeah, just go fuck this and hit end.
Hey, Steve, have you caught any of the Crown Jewel pay-per-view yesterday?
Did not. I'll probably have to go back and watch it. Probably one of the days I'm doing a little bit of cardio, but I heard good things.
Do you stay up on the current product, Steve?
I do. We tend to watch everything as much as possible. I don't know, just because I want to know what everybody's kind of doing and what people are reacting to and what's good and what's bad. And I think that's the only way to protect our...
Who's your wife, yours and your wife's favorite other than me?
Other than you?
Sorry, I need to get my win back from the Albany fans. Really hurt my feelings.
Hey, have you watched the video yet? The Family Guy gimmick with you?
You're stuttering again.
It's probably bad service again.
What was that?
Have you watched the friggin' meme? Did you watch the meme video that they did with the Family Guy, like the ostrich guy, where you're cutting the promo and then it cuts to the ostrich guy going, "Aha!"
Oh.
No.
You gotta watch it.
I'll have to look for that. The winner, the internet always wins. It's undefeated.
Oh, they win all the time.
They always win.
Some of the stuff they put out there is entertaining, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, the creativity sometimes I can appreciate it. The trolling, not so much, but the creativity sometimes it'll get you.
Well, sometimes the trolling makes me laugh because like it'll be such like a nice post I'll put of like me and my wife, soon-to-be wife Deanna, or the dogs, and then people are like, "Oh, you suck," or it's just like I'm like, "Wait, you just came on here to just tell me I suck and it's a picture of my dog?"
Yeah. I mean, when you think about like that stuff, because you don't know my wife. Like, why would you say something about my wife? You don't know her. And what we do is,
God,
it's not even, I don't know. All right, I'm going to stop. And
We
my
should
wife
poll-
is beautiful.
It's okay.
Like, I know, listen, I
no,
know
it's entertaining.
covered.
I fall down the loop of. I
What?
watch food porn where I'm just watching food videos and food being made, and I'm acting like an addict because I'm getting off to food being made. And I'm like, oh, that looks great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like food porn.
Doesn't make you a bad guy.
Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't, I'm not mad at you for it.
No, I love watching a recipe of something being made. I'm, oh my God, I want that. But then can I cook it? No.
Yeah. Try being a vegan.
You're vegan.
I'm okay. Thank you. Try not being a vegan.
God bless you.
It's
all right.
Gesundheit, you asshole.
That was, yeah. Get it right. Steve, babyface or heel? What do you prefer? Say it again. Did you pick this up?
I think he's currently being abducted by aliens.
Are you there?
Yes.
We are here.
There we are.
There we go. To answer your question, I'd preferably be a heel.
Okay.
I don't know. I just feel it comes more natural. Because naturally, I'm a nice guy in real life. I at least think that. I try to be pretty personable, but it's fun to just be a dick to people.
Yeah.
And it's a good outlet to just have an excuse to be an asshole to people. Where it's like, oh, no, it's pro wrestling.
Yeah. I get it. Well, I would like to say I can relate, but I can't because I'm a piece of shit all the way around.
That's what makes you a babyface.
Yeah, like in my real life, in my my professional life, my own parents didn't even like me. We covered that.
Yeah, they
and all your Pop
booed him.
Warner games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you going to be a heel or a babyface in your fight?
We're gonna see because he's from Ghana, so it's not like he's gonna have the home field advantage in Dubai.
It's pretty neutral territory.
Yeah, based on the way Albany received me. I mean, who knows? It could be anything. We'll see. So, Steve, your thoughts on the Paul brothers, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, right? Which one beat Silva?
Jake.
And then Logan.
Logan's the wrestler. Jake is the boxer.
Okay. What are your thoughts? Like, so do you welcome him coming into, let's call it our space, or does that kind of rub you the wrong way?
For the times that we're living in with social media, Twitter, YouTube, and all that, I think it's great for the industry because it brings a different avenue of approach to it. But at the same time, the old school part of me in wrestling is just like, it's taking a spot from somebody else that's busting their ass. But then also he's going out there and killing it.
Yeah, well, and so before I got on here, I saw on Instagram some of the match with Roman, and I did not see the pay-per-view. I didn't see that match yet. I will go back and watch it, but yeah, I mean, the clips I saw, now granted they're clips, so maybe there were things out of sequence or didn't make sense, or who knows, and anybody, can be super critical of it, but for a guy just coming in, like, I say he's like a potential ringer, like, I mean, and super athletic sort of dude, like, more athletic than I had given him credit for.
Good. It's just same thing with Bad Bunny when he was coming in. It's just like, it's good for publicity, but then they go out there and kill it. You're like, holy crap. And
see,
they're obviously,
because like Bad Bunny, I think from the clips that I saw tonight, I think whichever Paul it was is better than even Bad Bunny. I didn't think, I don't know, I wasn't overly impressed with Bad Bunny.
But at the same time, you got to think of you got to look at it at the business side of it. We'll look at the market that he's hitting, and it's the same with Jake Paul with hitting that YouTube. I didn't know who Jake Paul or Logan Paul were until I had to be explained who it was. I didn't know. I didn't follow YouTube.
Either. And watching the Silva clips that I saw, like, he's a far better boxer than I was giving him credit for without seeing it. Like, I was definitely not hating on it. I hadn't seen it. And then to see it, like, I wasn't expecting it to be as, and I'm no boxing aficionado, but I wasn't expecting to see the level that I saw. And it was good. And, like, I don't know, man, get your money. And if people want to pay to see you do anything, whether it's a boxing fight or pro wrestling or a goddamn chemistry experiment, like, who cares if people are willing to pay for it? Like, I'm not knocking anybody for it. And you're right, this like social media world that we live in, like, there's way more platforms and way more like a la carte kind of viewing out there. And go get it. I love it.
Get some.
And it just revitalizes, like, even boxing's been revitalized that way. I know it, like, people have like kind of their thing about it, but it's just like, what other boxing fight has been like promoted that's been big or talked about since, other than these fights that he's been having?
Right, because it's such an antiquated model. Boxing stayed in like not everything, everything in this world needs to evolve. Pro wrestling included, everything has to evolve. And as soon as something stops, evolution, if it stops, like whatever has stopped, it's going to cease to exist. And that's kind of what, boxing is stuck in this old, antiquated model. I was listening to Chael Sonnen's podcast, and he was talking about how with the Paul experiment and whatever, and how that is going on, and that boxing should take from it the 8 rounds thing, because there was, at one time, boxing was 16 rounds and then 12 rounds. And, fighting in general is just, it's not meant to go, it's a sprint, not a marathon. We're talking to ourselves again, boys.
Yeah.
I love a good sprint. And a marathon, I can do without.
Yeah. Well,
He'll be back in a minute. I've seen Mike Tyson talking about Jake Paul and boxing and how Tyson's kids love him. Mike likes him. Then someone asked him if he would, he was like, would you fight Jake? And Mike was like, it would not last long at all. But it seems like Tyson actually likes what Jake Paul's doing for boxing.
I heard something recently about it being Paul and Tyson potentially. It got shot down. It might have been on that same Chael Sonnen podcast. It was shot down for whatever reason. But I think it was also criticized for he's fighting near 50-year-old men. But at the end of the day, still, I don't care what age Mike Tyson is.
Hey!
Welcome back.
Yeah. We're talking
Awful
about
service.
Our favorite Mike. Who's your favorite Mike in the world? Magic Mike?
My favorite. Oh, Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay. Frank, who's your favorite Mike?
Tremarky. No.
Mike Tremarky. Okay.
Favorite Mike.
Okay, Mike Tremarky.
I go Jordan. Jordan's a good one.
What? You can't take Steve.
I can't take his.
Who's your favorite Mike?
You could side with me, but you got to pick somebody else.
Yeah, you gotta have a different. You gotta go with if your first is Jordan as well, you gotta go with your runner-up.
My favorite Mike. Michael Singletary.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right, Dennis.
Okay.
I know yours would be Jordan, right? But you again, same.
Can't pick him.
Same
So
caveat. Yeah, can't.
Part of me says Jackson, but Mike Trout.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to pick Mike Jackson anymore.
So Mike Trout plays center field for the Angels.
Okay, I'm gonna come at you with Michael Bivens.
Ooh, from Bell Biv DeVoe.
Good
Good
choice.
choice.
Yes, how about that? Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, never trust a big butt and a smile.
Yeah, there you go. You can't trust the big butt. Smile, maybe, but the big butt, no. Especially nowadays because people have fake asses.
Yes.
Talk about seeing
Fake
something
everything.
ridiculous. Holy shit. My wife has pointed out to me numerous times, the fake asses on women. We saw one the other day at the mall. Holy shit. My wife, we could not help but laugh, in the woman's face. I couldn't control it. It was the most obscene looking thing. It looked like a coffee table hanging out off her back. I put my coffee on.
Oh, that was nice of you.
Yeah.
Here, hold this.
Hold this, man.
Pardon moi.
It's hot. Coming in hot. Whoa.
What started that trend? What started that trend of fake butts?
Bobby.
So Steve, there was something else we did not get into, but so I'm responsible for the fake butts, and I'm also, little known fact, but we let the rabbit out of the hat here on the podcast previously, but the Hogan heel turn. Do you know who played an advisory role in that decision?
No.
He's on this podcast.
And it's not me or Frank.
So it's
And
you?
he's wearing a blue sweater.
Well, it's not me. I'm naked.
He's got a sticker in his nose.
Why are you picking your nose?
Because it's what I do.
But yeah, so Bobby's responsible.
To pick my nose.
Bobby's responsible for the Hogan turn and fake butts.
Yep.
And I'm going to pick my nose on pay-per-view. On the Floyd Mayweather undercard.
With a boxing glove on.
Yep.
It'll be very interesting.
185 pounds to get on pay-per-view and pick my nose.
Yeah, what are you fighting at, by the way?
185.
It's a tough weight.
I think I'll be fine.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, just body type wise, that's a good, like, solid frame of 185 pounds solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I walk around at more than that, but
yeah,
I'm gifted. Let's call it that. All right, that's not true.
All right, take us home.
Yeah. Frank, what do you got?
Not a damn thing. Nothing.
No,
I apologize for all the miscues on the timing of my connection for driving.
That's okay. It's
you're
our
good.
fault. It's our fault for having to have you on because we ran out of other choices.
Oh, thanks. So I was last minute. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were pretty far down. I'm not going to say last, but probably like fourth, maybe
Who's
fifth.
last? I want to know.
Blue Meanie.
The gobbledygooker.
Steve Lombardi from Brawler.
What
Harvey
the hell?
Winkleman. Steve
Adam
Bell.
Bomb?
Adam Bomb. The fake.
That's how I remember. That's how I remember Harvey Whippleman is with Adam Bomb.
Yes.
Downtown Bruno.
Yes. Adam Cole should change his name to Adam Bomb.
Adam Boom.
Adam Boom.
Ooh.
Adam Boom Bomb.
All right.
There you go. All right. Let's take it home, boys.
Frank, you're good? You got nothing?
Wishing you all the good luck in Dubai next week, live in living color.
Yes.
Yeah, Bobby, go kick some ass, man.
It'll be on DAZN. I believe it's $14.99 for the pay-per-view on DAZN. How you
Pretty price.
get all that and whatnot, I have no idea. I do have T-shirts, though. I do have T-shirts. Yeah,
We love good merch.
Yes.
Love it.
Gotta sell the merch.
All right, boys. Steve, thank you so much for being a part of whatever
Steve, drive safe.
we've done.
Yeah, I'm curious how it's going to come out, so I appreciate it.
It'll be out.
Wednesday.
It'll be out.
It'll be out someday.
Yep.
It'll be out like Bobby is. Right now, out of his robe. Bobby's out of his robe right now is how I influence that. But no, thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, I love just BSing. I could talk for hours, and thanks for getting me through this car ride back.
We'll do it again soon.
The least we could do is get you through that car ride, get you home to your soon-to-be wife.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then, yeah, the future's going to be fun, man.
All right. Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Kiss
congratulations.
your dog on the mouth when you get home.
Oh, I will. All three of them.
Okay.
Do you kiss your dogs?
I like the sounds of that. My dog is actually, I just dropped my dog off at Tara's.
Okay.
Remember Tara?
Who's?
Tara from NXT.
Yes.
Yeah. She watches
he's over there hanging out?
Go away whenever we go anywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. We take ours to the park house.
They love our dog, and our dog loves them, and
That's good.
It's nice. It's nice. Yeah. What a sweet person.
It is. He is.
Me, I'm a sweet person. I'm talking about me.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Albany doesn't think so, and I don't think anybody else thinks so.
Put me over. Albany won't. Put me over.
That's your next T-shirt.
We should call those great people.
That is the next T-shirt.
Next T-shirt. That's next T-shirt.
Put me
Put me
over.
over. My
Albany
hometown won't.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Love that.
All right. We'll give you royalties, Steve.
Nah, you just can't keep it.
Well, yeah. That's what I meant.
Right.
All right. There you go, Dennis.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bobby, say goodnight.
Good night, Bobby. We screwed that up.
That's